this video, I want to talk a little bit about the difference between statistical significance and clinical significance. So, by this point in the semester, you probably understand um, that group research design methodologies take large groups of individuals. The researchers then collect data and determine the average results for different participants in different groups. Then the researchers calculate statistical significance in comparison to some control group or no treatment group and infer that these results make sense at the individual level and for individuals who might have a similar presentation. The problem is that when we're using this model, we can't determine individual characteristics. So we don't know what makes person 1 in group A different from person 2 in group A, or 3 in group A, or what makes person 4 in group B different from another individual in group B or someone in group A. We also don't know whether or not each individual improved or failed to improve. We only know group averages. So, as an average, um, or on average, Group A performed better than Group B, or Group B improved more than Group C, but not as much as Group A. So, we only know what it was like um, as a whole. We lose that individualization. Statistical significance is a term that is used when describing the results from group design methodology. And it's something that you should look at with caution because statistical significance can actually be a pretty trivial result. So when you're reading different articles and they say that there were statistically significant improvements in one group over another group, be very cautious about what this really means. Statistical significance doesn't tell you anything about the individual. And even though a group showed statistically significant improvements, the improvements might not be noticeable for the individual. So, say that I was a participant and I received the same treatment that group A did. There might have been statistically significant improvements in group A, but as an individual, I might not have benefited from that intervention at all, and you might not notice any change in my behavior. On the other hand, it's possible to conclude that there were not statistically significant improvements. So it might be that the intervention administered to a particular group resulted in very significant changes for a handful of individuals who were in that group. We might have had clinically significant changes, but the group as a whole didn't improve, and so there weren't statistically significant changes. Um, this is something that single case research design is really good at helping us to identify clinical significance and whether or not there were meaningful changes for individuals at the individual level following implementation of an intervention. And we can test this out by replication, right? By replicating the intervention components and systematically withdrawing components. And so this allows us to, again, make database decisions at the individual level. Whereas with group research design, I might say that a particular intervention has been documented to be effective for, say, treating individuals with autism spectrum disorder, but I won't know whether or not there were clinically significant or meaningful differences for each individual in that group. But with single case research design, I can see that and I can see the magnitude of change and the magnitude of improvement, the immediacy of effect. And so, single case research design has some advantages over group design when you're evaluating changes and in applied research that might be more relevant to practice than the results from group research design.